lot of things about this movie, but one of the things that I loved was that Phil, he really clumps around that house. Like he has a really sort of ominous presence.
He does.
Around the big sort of house. I'm wondering if that idea sort of presented itself, like if it was a conscious decision, or if it's just like boots on a wood floor, make a lot of noise.
No, it was all, everything's considered, from the strike of a match to the posture of a moment sitting down to how that shifts depending on what happens in the scene. And there are moments where I stealthily walk past Rose and she doesn't even know I'm there. And there are others where I want to make it very apparent that I'm present. And it's psychological game playing. And you know, from the very early moment, I was saying, you know, I don't think Phil is a kind of one-step guy. And, you know, I didn't get to go into the drawing room, and I mean the room where people draw, with Grant to say, look, I think the step should be this high because I'm that tall and my legs have that kind of a reach. I just got to the set and thought, yeah, I'll take two at a time, because that's the kind of guy he is. You feel like he just strides across the landscape. It's not by accident, very much not. And in a film that has no gunfire, sound and the use of presence, that's what's weaponized, you know, a banjo or a piece of rope or the way a door swings open or the way someone walks up a stair or is heard or not heard. Those are the weapons in this film.
Even his chaps being buffalo, you know, sort of like the width and like weight that would give you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that forms my physicality for sure. Very early on, when Jane and I literally first met, she showed me a lookbook of the sort of sensual lens and aspects of herding and ranch work and ranch men and women that she wanted to really kind of exacerbate and concentrate on. And she showed me these chaps and she was sort of thrilled, sort of like a satyr, half man and half beast. It's so sexy. And I thought, right, well, I'll be wearing those as Phil, I suppose. So, you know, I knew early on those would be a part of it, for the winter at least. And yeah, the course, all of it informs. It all informs. And being on a horse for a long time, the saddle sore, you know, spraddle-legged walk or roll or just the way he stands in the pose. And a lot of it's described in the book as well, I should say. You know, Thomas Savage's novel is replete with the most amazing blueprint for a characterization, including a lot of very acute observations of his physicality.
Speaking of what's in the book versus what's in the screen, like I'm sort of wondering, you know, watching the movie, you get that Phil has a lot of love and respect for his mentor, Bronco Henry. But as we sort of get into the movie, we come to realize that there might have been like more there than just like the sort of like teacher-student relationship. But it also feels like a little weird knowing what we know sort of about like a mentor, like a mentor-mentee relationship and like sort of older man, younger man sort of thing. How did you sort of view Phil's origin story in that relationship?
I never thought the age difference as a thing of taking advantage or something that was predatory or Phil's vulnerability. I think what happened was very consensual. I mean, that was definitely my view on it. And I think that the torturous thing for him is not being able to fully realize what that was, and not maybe having more than maybe one experience of some intimacy with this man and not really knowing what that is, but still feeling it in his body and not being able to explore it unless he is on his own, which is a very rare moment, which, you know, one of the many gifts of this part is that I get to carry a secret and masquerade with this protective but real masculinity in his work and the way he holds himself in the world, and then explore this sensuality and connection to a past that was never fully realized and cut tragically short and unable to be expressed, you know, in an intolerant time as it was in 1925, in private, you know, with just literally Ari's camera and Jane, and just to be abandoned to that and what that relationship was with his past and Bronco. So I think it's even confusing for the character, and should remain a bit of a mystery for the audience to not be too clearly defined.
Sort of a lonesome place out here, Pete, unless you get in the swing of things.